I want to share a prophetic word that the Lord gave me. I was in the place of prayer and the Lord spoke to me in a vision. And I saw a vision of this river, and I knew that that river was God's blessing. It was breakthrough. It was promises, provision, answered prayers, healing, and freedom. And there was a person that was standing in the path of that river, and the river was going to flow to them. But before it got to that person, that river ran into a brick wall that I knew was delay. And see, the purpose of that wall of delay was to get that person to move out of the path of the river, to move out of the place of faith. And so that's why you have to stand in faith, trusting in God's faithfulness. Ephesians 6:13 says, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, stand." See, the purpose of the armor of God is to equip you to stand your ground and to stay in the place of faith, because the enemy wants to move you out of the place of faith so that you are not in position to receive everything that God has for you. You know, there are times when people will send me a package through UPS that requires a signature. And so if I'm not at my house to sign for that package, I cannot receive it, right? They'll just leave me a little note on the door that says, "Hey, you weren't here to sign for it, so we didn't leave the package." So even though that package was mine, even though it belongs to me, because I was not in the right position to sign for it, I could not receive it. And see, God is sending answers to prayer, blessings, breakthrough for you. But if you are not in the place of faith to sign for it, you cannot receive it. Even though it belongs to you, that promise, that blessing, that breakthrough, it has your name on it. If you are not in the place of faith to sign for it, you cannot receive it. That's why 1 Corinthians 15:58 says this: "Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord." Don't allow the wall of delay to move you out of the place of faith, because if you stand in faith, you will receive everything that God has for you. See, because when this river hit that brick wall, the river didn't stop flowing. It continued to flow, and it just began to build up, and the water level began to get higher and higher until finally the water started spilling over the top of this wall. And when it did, that brick wall crumbled, and all of those blessings, all of those answers to prayer, all of those promises came flooding in at once. And that's why you need to stand in the place of faith, because that wall of delay, it cannot stop the blessing of God from flowing into your life. It may be able to slow it down a little bit, but it cannot stop it. And so if you stand in faith, you will receive everything that God has for you. All of those promises, all the answers to prayer, all the blessings that have been building up are going to come flooding into your life at once. And the Lord gave me this scripture in Amos chapter 9, verse 11. It says, "Things are going to happen so fast your head will swim. One thing fast on the heels of another. You won't be able to keep up. Everything will be happening at once. And everywhere you look, blessings. Blessings like wine pouring off the mountains and hills. I'll make everything right again for my people." And that is exactly what is going to happen when that wall of delay crumbles in your life. It's going to be one blessing after another. God is going to make everything right in your life again. Restoration, provision, healing, and redemption are going to flow into your life in unprecedented levels. So as I'm watching, this vision take place, I'm like, man, I get it. We got to stay in that place of faith. And if we just stay in the place of faith, we'll receive everything that you have for us. But God, can we speed this thing up? Can we, do anything to accelerate and cause this wall to come down quicker? And just when I said that, this person walked over to that wall that looked like a brick wall, but he poked it with his finger. And when he poked it with his finger went right through that wall, creating a hole, and water started to shoot through that hole. So he began to poke all through this wall. And every time he poked, his finger went through it and water started shooting. And eventually this brick wall started to crack until the water came bursting forth. And I knew that that person poking through that wall, that represented thanksgiving, praise, and worship. That when we come to God with thanksgiving, with expectation, with praise for what He's going to do, it begins to poke holes in that wall of delay. That when we make decrees and declarations, when we declare the promises of God over our lives in faith, it pokes holes in that wall of delay, and it accelerates the blessing and the provision and the breakthrough that God has for you. And so I hope that this message encourages you to stay in the place of faith, because if you stay in faith, you'll receive everything that God has for you. If you remain joyful, expectant with thanksgiving and praise for what God is going to do, it'll accelerate everything that He wants to do in your life. Hey, if this video encouraged you, do me a favor, smash that like button for me, share this video with a friend, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel and click on the bell so that you can be notified when new videos come out. And remember, if it's not good, God's not done. Thanks for watching.